What's up, Negroes? How you guys doing? Hell yeah. Dude, I'm breaking barriers in my life. I had sex using a vibrator for the first time, and by God, it's better. I thought I had good stuff. No, the hardware has improved phenomenally. It's like, it was so good. Like, now when I show up to sex with my analog penis, it feels like bringing a horse and buggy to the Daytona 500. She's looking at me, take down my pants like, oh, nigga, you Amish? What the fuck? We have technology. You know what's weird, though, is even though it was my first time, it felt oddly familiar. Like, what it reminded me of is when I was a kid and I'd be holding the flashlight while my dad fixed the pipes. I was like, I don't feel like I'm a vital part of this process, but I'm glad you want me here. Have you come yet, Dad? Yeah, this is the weird part of the show. This has been a big year for me sexually. I'm asking for stuff I want. It's not huge, but, you know, it's a big step for me. Like, I was hooking up with somebody. We've been hooking up for a while, and I went up to her. I was like, hey, I was wondering if you wanted to shake things up, try anal, you know? And she was like, yes, but one condition. I get to do it to you, too. And I was like, finally. Oh, my God. Yes. Yes. Look, dude, I'm from a small conservative town. You know, you don't get the chance to experiment that much. This is my fucking time, baby. But I admit, I was nervous because, like, I'll be real, like, I'm not super experienced. Like, I've had a finger around my butt. I've had someone go 2 knuckles deep, but brother, an entire dildo in your ass. Now we're cooking. That is phenomenal. Oh, my God. There's some guys in here looking at me weird, and you're wrong, all right? You're wrong and you're scared. You have no idea. We're playing different games. You're playing checkers. I am playing Elden Ring, okay? Holy shit. I was so into it, I forgot she was even there. She was like, what about me? I'm like, this is not about you anymore, all right? I am learning about myself. Bro, it was so good. It's why I'm for universal healthcare now, honestly. It changed me politically. You're a man, you turn 45, you gotta get a prostate exam every year. I think every man should have this experience, and the government should pay for it. It's my 2024 campaign. Bro, I'd be in the doctor's office every week like, what if I'm sick? Do your job, medicine man. You went to school for this. Bro, I've been on strike for like the past 5 months, and yeah, we won. It's pretty good, but I'll admit though, by like month 2, you start getting real bored. I was starting to do some real freaky shit. I was watching the news live, like a pervert. What the? Nah, dude, I was watching the news and they were talking about mass shootings. This is where the show gets fun. And this is how I know like gun rights people are running out of arguments. They said the reason we have so many mass shootings in this country, it's not because of guns, fuck off, no. It's because of rap music. Hip hop is inspiring these young people to go out and commit atrocities. And I'm like, bro, have you heard modern rap? These are the biggest pussies on the planet. Like, bro, the biggest rapper in the world is Drake. All right, I don't know about you, but I am not scared of a mass shooter inspired by Drake, okay? Straight up. I am not the toughest guy in the world, at all. But if a Drake-inspired shooter came in this room right now, I could shut that shit down with a hard, stop it. And he'd just be like, I don't know what I'm doing, I'm sorry. You know, and light skin his way out of the room. He wouldn't even be able to begin. He would have dropped the gun from his overly moisturized hands before he even started. It's just like, I don't know, bro, like, rap's different now. Everyone's sad and on Xanax, you know? It's not the 90s anymore. It's just different now. Country's in disarray. Arrested my boy. They arrested Trump. for January 6th and like 97 other things. That's fucking crazy. I know crack dealers who've been arrested less. That's wild. It's hard for me because I'm like split on the issue, you know? Because on one hand, like I'm very progressive. But on the other, I am from Florida, so part of me wants him to beat the case, just like a little bit. Just a little part of me, you know? Like the progressive side of me is like, he should rot in jail for the rest of his life. And the Florida part of me is like, steal the bailiff's gun. Come on, Donnie. Don't let him hold you down, Donnie. He's inspiring though, you know? He's like the Martin Luther King for white people with Facebook accounts. And I get it, like I grew up in a like pretty conservative area. I get how conservatives think, you know? Like January 6th, makes sense, right? I'm not saying politically, I just mean emotionally, I see how you could get to that point, because like you have to put it into context. January 6th, that happened during the pandemic, right? I don't know what your pandemic was like, but I live alone, because I'm really rich. And that was just a year of me losing my mind by myself. And if someone came to my door during that time and was like, hey man, me and some friends are gonna go murder the vice president, I would be like, you had me at friends. Honestly, like, I just need a group activity. Can't we play Uno? Now, dude, he's really inspiring these. Do you know how much you have to inspire somebody to get them to take a cross-country Greyhound bus to murder someone? I've never reached that level of desperate. Like, bro, Greyhound fucking sucks. I don't even think they wanted to riot initially. I think they just got on that bus and it radicalized them on the way to DC. Bro, Greyhound sucks so much ass, dude. I was on Greyhound 3 weeks ago and there was a guy just masturbating in the back, openly. And that was me, and I'm a good person. So imagine what everybody else in that bus was doing. We got anyone in therapy? I could tell this was a rich audience. Those are out of network too. Those are carefree woos. I could hear it. But yeah, I'm in therapy. I've been going for like a year and a half. It rocks. It's funny because like all my friends suggested I go. Like it wasn't my idea. Which is how you know you're fucking killing it. And apparently I have clinical depression, which was news to me because I always just thought I was chill, but turns out you can be medically chill. Life-threateningly chill. It's funny too, my friend, he also has clinical depression, but the thing is my friend's 6'5", so it's not the same. I don't want to be a bitch, but like, fuck tall people, okay? I'm 5'9", dude. I'm so jealous of tall people. It's just hard for me to care about their problems. Like my friend, he'll come to me, he's like, yeah, man, I'm going through a lot of issues. I'm like, yeah, bro, just step over them. What are you talking about? But I was talking to my therapist and I was like, what's like an actionable way for me to feel better about myself? And she's like, go out and help somebody else in your life. And I'm like, that's some Facebook level advice, but okay. And I was talking to my grandma. My grandma, she's 93 years old. And yeah, she's killing it. Great woman. And she's a widow. Grandpa passed away a few years ago. But recently, on one of our calls, she told me that she's back out here on the dating scene, 93. Yeah. So, man, if you're trying to join the family, you know what I'm talking about. Open slot. You don't have to wear condoms. I'm kidding, Jesus. You should definitely wear condoms. She's riddled with STDs. Look, it's called living a life. No, but I was talking to her, and she said she's nervous of getting back out there on the apps, mostly because I don't think Tinder goes that high. But I was like, yo, I'm a fuckboy piece of shit, you know? Like, I can lend you my services, and she accepted, so now I'm out here trying to get my grandma some dick. And the second weirdest part about that is that I had to have a conversation with her about what she's looking for in a man, which I never thought I'd have to do. And she told me she's only looking for two things. One, they have to be rich. And I'm like, girl, fair. Honestly, like, you're 93, this is the closest to reparations you are ever gonna get. Also, that's my inheritance. So now this is a business decision for me. And then she said, 2, that she's not looking for anything long-term. I'm like, bitch, you are 93. How much confidence do you have? Our conversations are long-term. So it turns out my grandma's also a fuckboy, just runs in our family like depression. But I did it. I set up a profile, which is just black and white pics she gave me from the 50s. We're out here catfishing senior citizens as a family. And I'm swiping, I land on this guy Alan's profile, and Alan's cool, dude. Like, we vibe. I tell him all the movies I like. He tells me all the injections he needs to make it through the week, you know? Cute first day stuff. And eventually, I ask him out. He says, yeah, and he and my grandma, they've been going out for like a few months now. Nah, fuck her. Because Alan's my man, okay? She didn't earn that. She doesn't know Alan like I do. So she's out there with the love of my life, and I'm with you fucking people. But you guys have been great. Enjoy the rest of the show. Bye.